Hi everyone, this is the first video introducing you to the Visual Widget Navigation plugin that I created. It's now available on Marketplace. Basically, the plugin allows you to build a navigation between widgets using just the designer for the widgets rather than using any kind of blueprints and C++ code. So let's get into this straight away. In this video I'll be showing you just the plugin and the example content that it contains, and we'll be doing some very simple widget setup for this, but it can be much more complex than that. Therefore there will be a follow-up videos showing more complex stuff in the future. First of all, the best thing you can do is actually take a look at the example content example that I have for the plugin. So make sure that you enable show plugin content and show engine content so that you can have access to this in your project. I already have the plugin enabled, so if you don't, then you obviously have to. It's called Visual Widget Navigation. So as you can see, it's enabled. Therefore, I'll be able to see the engine plugins, and it will be at the bottom because it's V and it's alphabetically sorted. This will be the Visual Widget Navigation content. So there's a couple of blueprints, level, and some widgets. So those two blueprints, they're just game modes. They will just set up those two example widgets separately so that you can quickly switch between them and take a look. This is the level. That's I'm already on this level, so it basically allows you to just get into the game and show the widgets straight away without anything behind it. There's also the button here. That's also the example button that is allowing you to highlight it and stuff when you navigate to it. And two example widgets and another helper widget for the second one, because this one is more complex. And when you launch the game, you will be able to see some screen like this. And now you can navigate with your keyboard. They all cycle through, they'll work. You can press enter and release, whatever. I can try to launch. Yeah, now I'm navigating with my controller. So it all works. There is a second example. This one was the first one. There is a second one as well. When you switch to it, you'll be able to see this kind of example. So you can just navigate through this as well. And so if you don't know something, just take a look at those examples, how they are set up. I go through, for example, this one. If I launch the navigation building system, you'll be able to see, and I highlight this widget, you will be able to see that it's navigating towards the other widgets and stuff. I will be going through how it works and stuff in a minute. It's just showing you that it's set up using the system. So what I want to do now is create some simple actually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy one of those game modes because they have very simple widgets set up. I will call it my game mode, so it will be just quicker for us to switch between our example. And I'm gonna create new widget. And now this is all in documentation, so if you don't know something, just make sure to read the documentation well. But there is one limitation to the system, and it's that it has to, your whole screen that is hosting the navigation links for everything, it has to derive from this class called Visual Widget Navigation Widget. It's a little bit confusing, but this is the name of the plugin, and it just says that it's a widget. So you have to derive from this class in order to be able to use the navigation system. Let's call it WBP my widget, let's say, and I open it up, and you'll be able to see those icons on the left top corner. Now, I'll show you, for example, if I create just a regular widget, user widget as usually, and I get into it, then you don't get this. So the system knows that you are deriving from the right widget class and will allow you to create a navigation links. So I'm gonna add some canvas here, and right now I should be able to build the navigation properly. So let's say that you want to use some simple button that would be just the Unreal button here, and well, then maybe let's just duplicate it, get another one. And now there is a couple of things to mention here. If you see this button grayed out, it means that your blueprint is not compiled. So the system requires you to compile the blueprint before proceeding with navigation creation. It's because not go into much details before when you, for example, drag and drop new button in blueprints, the Unreal widget system does not register this button properly yet until you compile it. Therefore, I don't have enough data for navigation building at this point. Therefore, as if you'd see this, it's 99% that you have not compiled the blueprint. So you just compile it, and you'll be able to see this. This is a toggle button, so you can just enable and disable the navigation mode. When you are inside the navigation mode, this button will be highlighted red, and you will see the message on the bottom. So once you are in the navigation building mode, you will be able to highlight the buttons like usually, but the highlight will work a little bit different. For example, if I highlight this button now, you can see I can drag it around and do whatever you usually do with the widgets. And if I highlight it now with this one, you'll be able to see this. It looks completely different. I cannot drag it. I cannot do anything with this. So so the way that you can set up the navigation, you can see there is 4 sockets. We call them sockets here. So there is a top, bottom, right, and left socket. Those are those sockets are actually corresponding to each direction where you can navigate. So this is up navigation, this is right navigation, down navigation, and left navigation. So when you press the keyboard, let's say right arrow, this socket will evaluate what widget it should go to, and then it would go to this widget. So let's say that if I press right, I wanna go to this widget. So basically, you just click and drag a line like in blueprints, and you can just hover over the widget that you want to target, and you'll be able to see that it snaps to this widget. Now, there is one more thing to mention here. If I, for example, disable focus on my widget, the system will not consider this widget. The widget has to be focusable for the system to work. It's because this plugin is using original Unreal Engine navigation under the hood. It just creates the links in different way, but in the end of the day, it uses Unreal Engine navigation system, so it is completely compatible with anything you've done so far. So if I disable the focusable flag on this one, and I go to here, you'll be able to see that I cannot click on this. This is no longer valid, as well as you can see, it's not snapping even to this widget. So this is wrong. Widget needs to be focusable in order to be navigated to. So make sure your widget is always focusable, the widget that you want to target. So now I will be able to build a navigation link between those. And when I release the mouse button, you will be able to see a couple of things. First of all, there is a widget 0. So as you can see, this is the system is indexing and calling the widgets their unique names. Because normally when you name widgets here and you have, for example, child widget inside of this widget, it can have exactly the same name as this widget. So it could have a button, and inside of the button you could have another, I don't know, text field or something that is also named the same way as, let's say, this widget or something. So basically what's the issue here is that I cannot rely on those names because it can be repeatable. So in order to avoid this conflict of names, my system just generates some widget 0, widget 1, widget 2, and so on. You don't need to be worried about this. This is nothing you will ever use, really. It's just displaying for some, for some more advanced stuff if you want to take a look later videos, but you don't need to be worried about this. Now, second thing you see is this. This is more advanced feature of the system, and it's basically a custom navigation. So if you wanted to, for example, navigate to this link, but under certain conditions navigate to something different, choose different widgets or something, you can just double click this and it will redirect you to the function where you can output some widget here, and it will use this instead of this link. That's more advanced feature, and I'm not going to be going through this in this video. There will be, as I said, there will be a follow-up videos with more advanced usage of this plugin. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is this. This is transition node here. So you know that you want to when you press right arrow or on, or the right D-pad or on your gamepad, you want to navigate from this widget to that widget. But this transition is very similar to what we are used to with the with the animation blueprints, which means it decides whether or not this can happen even. So let's say that my player has that I can only navigate to this button if the player has, let's say, less than 10 health or something. Then you can double click this and it will redirect you to the right function. You can see by default it says it can navigate. It's just ticked. It's all good. Like, it will allow you to navigate to this button without any problem. But you can, this is a Boolean condition, so you can set up anything you want, and it's also checking the direction in here, so you can take a look what the navigation direction that is. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. It just checks if we can navigate towards this widget. So if you have any more complex conditions when you want to disable this button from navigation or something, you can do that here easily. Now, so as you can see, I can navigate from this one to that one, but I can never navigate the other way around. So let's do this now. Cool. Now we have set up the navigation completely. The only thing that's left to do is when I launch the game, I want to navigate to this, let's say the button 0. I want to straight away navigate to it. So this is a completely separate thing. So I'm gonna grab button 0 and gonna go navigate to. If you are familiar with widgets navigation that were in Unreal Engine before, you can also do set keyboard focus. It will work the same way as this widget, as this node. It even says in the description here that it's the same as set keyboard focus. It's just changed the name so that it's just easier to understand that we are building navigation So I'm sticking to the navigation naming scheme. And yeah, so it should work now. The only thing is, in my game mode, I'm gonna change the launch widget to my widget. This is unnecessary. Like, this is obviously just launching the widget at the start of the game. This is something you can have your logic on this one. It doesn't really matter. And on this level, I'm gonna change it to my my game mode, let's say. Right. You probably cannot see this because those Unreal Engine buttons, they highlight it's very thin, but I can now, you can see, press them and navigate from right to left, right? That's one thing. How about complexing a little bit more? So let's say if I navigate left from this button, I want to go back to this one. So I just do this. And vice versa, if I navigate right here, it just goes nowhere, so it will stay here normally. But I want to cycle back to this button. And you can just do this, launch the game, and you will be able to see that. You can navigate here. I'm gonna press right arrow now, and I'm back here. Also, if I press left here, I'm back here. So you can see this works pretty well. The widget, the plugin allows you to make much more complex stuff than this. But stay tuned for the next videos to show you how to build more complex stuff. There's a couple more things to mention. For example, if you let's say I remove this button here and you try to compile, it will give you some errors. It's because the system, when you create navigation links, it basically generates a bunch of blueprint functions that allows you to navigate between them, and obviously there is a missing variable now, and so this will be giving you those errors. So don't worry about that. Make sure it's compiled and just press on this and click on the rebuild navigation button. You click on this one, recompile, and it should be all good. It will remove all the function. It will not remove actually everything you've done, but it will detect whether or not there is some navigation to be done on certain widgets, and if they're completely off the navigation system, it will wipe out everything that's related to them. So it will clean up pretty much everything that is unused for the navigation system. So whenever you remove widgets, just go to navigation system and rebuild navigation. It should be good to go. So I think I can talk about one more thing actually in this video. Yeah, forgot it myself. Oops. Oh yeah, because because I created this construction stuff here. That's unrelated to the system anyway. Cool. Now we're good. So there's one more thing that I prepared, and it's, as I said before, there is a navigable button example here. This button derives from navigable button widget, that is C++ class, and what it basically does is it basically allows you to it will highlight the button a little bit better. So if you normally get the button and kind of see how its style works in the buttons, you've got a bunch of states like normal, hovered, appeared, pressed, and disabled. And so this button, the way it reacts, it's just a regular Unreal Engine button, but in C++ I created a logic where whenever it's navigated to, it will just go into the hovered state. So it will, whatever you set up for the hovered for this button, it will just do this when it's navigated. So for example, I can grab the WBP navigable widget button. I'll say test maybe left, and I'm gonna duplicate this guy, put it here, let's call it right. So there are our two buttons, and when I can create the navigation like I did before, let's say, with the cycling through, right, there is our navigation. Now I'm gonna get one of those to be navigated to from when the game starts, and then let's launch the game. You can see the left button is navigate. I can press on it, there is a bunch of logs, and I go right on my keyboard, this one is navigated, and then I go right again, this one is navigated. So that's the system. Worth mentioning that the system is going to work with all the widgets that you see in here. This is not limited to any C++ made class or anything. So whenever the Unreal Engine widget is focusable, then it's good to go. Obviously, the system is using Unreal Engine Navigation, so obviously when you probably used to create a navigation between widgets this way, like set navigation rules, for example, direction and then row and maybe some widget to focus and stuff. And so it's basically the same thing. It's just you don't have to build it with blueprints, but you can basically visibly create this that way. So that's pretty much it for this video. Very, very basic setup. In the next videos, I will be showing you how to create more complex stuff. There is more features to this plugin than just that. So stay tuned for this. There will be quite cool things that we will do with this. So thanks for watching.